You'd have to be living under a rock to not know that Ireland has a major cultural drinking issue. It's to the point now where, to be realistic about it, in any journalistic sense, I don't have to give you any statistics for you to just agree wholesale to that premise. However, a lot of what we hear about this drinking cultural issue that we have in Ireland is either just the layman having a conversation and nothing actually happening about it, or it's from drink aware organizations who obviously do by nature want to be very anti-alcohol, and definitely are coming in with a loaded agenda. And I thought to myself, well, it's not often that people actually get the chance to discuss how they feel about it and how they view things. So I wanted to create a safe area kind of for people to have that sort of discussion, and that's what I ended up doing. I called in two of my friends from my course and I got them to kind of open up about their honest experiences with alcohol, about how it's changed them, about how working in bars has changed them, how their perspective has changed, and then to ask them candidly and say, do we have an issue here, fellas, in this country, and we're going to see what they say. So I guess we better start this off with the toast. So this instead.
Come out, you black and tans, come out and fight me like a man. Show your wife how you won medals down in Flanders. Tell her how the IRA made you run like hell away from the green and lovely lanes of Killishandra. Come let us hear you tell how you slandered great Parnell when you thought him well and truly persecuted.
So we all know that Ireland has a massive systemic and cultural drinking problem, and that's why I've gathered us here today to talk as students and peers and have a conversation about kind of the drinking culture in Ireland, and sort of now that we're at the end of this kind of college phase of our lives where it's expected of us that we kind of, go mad, we have our fun, we go out and we meet people and we party and we drink and such, and we're sort of at the close of that now. And so I brought in with me today two of my peers, my fellow students, my classmates, to kind of sort of, you know, see where you're at, kind of, at the end of this, and see kind of like, how all of your opinions and stuff have kind of formed around what you think of all this, and just kind of all your general experiences, I suppose, like growing up and everything as well. We're gonna get into all that, but before that, do you want to introduce yourselves?
So I'll go first. My name is Finbar Donovan. I'm a TV radio student in fourth year. I suppose we're here about drinking. So I suppose my story with it is I've grown up in bars really. I've worked in bars since I was 15. So I've never really I've seen the line in a way. I've always had a healthy relationship with it. So yeah, it's nice to talk about it and get other voices really on it. And yeah, that's my story.
So I'm Stephen Fogarty. I am also a fourth year student in TV radio. And well, I am currently working in a bar at the moment in Tralee. And I've always been around bars. Like, I've always gone to like the bar, the pub after like football games with my dad, or even playing darts or cards or things at home. Like, I was always in and around it. Like, and so I never really saw the other side of it. And then I suppose maybe 14, 15, I started glass picking in the local pub, and worked in another pub in town, Mike Mart's. And then I was working in the hotel, the Ringy Kerry, and then I left, and then I was working, and I didn't really get a job in the pub again till about 6-7 months ago here in Tralee. And I've noticed there's a big difference locally to Tralee. Like, I know there's only it's just like an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes between the two places, but there is there is a big difference in the way they're run at home and the way they're run in Tralee. Like it's kind of more of a no nonsense attitude I find in Tralee. Like there's I suppose bouncers and security. Everybody's walking around, and there's a lot more. Yeah, it's a lot more serious. Whereas at home, you know, the ordinary Joe Soap, well, it's I suppose more I suppose casual, I suppose, in a way. Like you'd rarely see someone at home getting thrown out of a pub. Like
Yeah.
whereas
It's not really a thing.
yeah, where it's almost, you know, second nature. Where I've done it myself. I've thrown people out of pubs in Tralee, like, and so it's a weird one. Like I don't know. It's funny how different they're so close, yet they're so different in the way they do things.
No, I agree with you, and we'll put a pin in that because I actually want to get back to that. You've actually kind of made something I wanted to ask you about. You kind of already gone into it a little bit, so
Okay.
we'll circle back
Yeah, no worries.
towards that kind of somewhere in the middle or at the end. And I do have a lot of questions that I want to ask you about kind of, you know, what I talked about, you know, your own kind of journey and your understanding of this and whatever. But before we do that, I think you and I should say Shlancha.
Oh yeah, this is what I came here for. Right? This is what I came here for. Ah, yes, thank you.
Shlancha.
It's an honor.
Like growing up, like how, you know, because you know, and it's a major talking point these days that, like, you know, and it has been for a long time. And there's this stereotype of like the drunken Irishman, you know, the Irish sailor kind of thing, you know, and so it's difficult to be a stranger to the fact that we do have some kind of we have a different relationship with alcohol than a lot of countries do. You know what I mean? And so I kind of wanted to ask you, and we'll kind of do the way that we came in, where we'll have you answer first, and then we'll do you. But like, how aware of that were you growing up? Like, what way did you start to come to understand that? How did that kind of go for you? Was there things in your family life that kind of would have, you know, shown you what that was like firsthand, or was it just something that you heard about, but, you know, you were 7 years old, you didn't drink, so you just, you know, you found that out when you were older? Like, how did that kind of go for?
So
for
just
both of
like
you?
the culture in general.
Yeah, or like what you understood of it when you were young, we'll say first, kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I suppose from a young age anyway, I always saw, I don't know, maybe it's just the way that we celebrate as Irish people. I always saw the pub as a treat. We get to go to the pub. Oh, it's great. Like, we would, like, that doesn't mean we went often.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
you know, if, let's say, we have a big festival at home, the Regatta Festival. If we have that, we get to go to the pub. We get potatoes, like, in a 7-Up. It's great.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and then, like, our cousins might be there or our friends might be there from school. Like, so it was always I don't know, I saw it as a treat and it always a fun time. And I grew up around Irish music as well, so I love listening to the music as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I just saw it as a great, you know, a day out, really.
Right, it's kind of like a fun fair.
Excuse me.
So it's kind of like a fun fair almost. It's like it has like attractions in a way of, like, you know, like you say, like you get crisps, you get to listen to trad, you get to, like, you know, chat away and kind of, like, you know, meet your father's friends or like that kind of thing. Like, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it was just something that, like, I wouldn't say you look forward to, but, like, you get excited when you get to go.
Yeah,
like, because
it's a day out kind of thing.
yeah, it's a day out, and
Yeah.
I suppose that's what. Yeah, there was a good spell in my life though where we just didn't go.
Mm-hmm.
I think both my parents just got turned off alcohol for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, we didn't go, and then I gravitated back towards them in my teens. But,
Yeah.
that's just kind of that's just the small town way.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I started working in a pub. Like, to be fair, like I can say it now, like I was drinking before I started working in a pub. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I was very young when I started drinking,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, that we can get into that later. But yeah, I suppose I've always been around.
That was going to be my
pubs.
next question. I was going to kind of go into that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I suppose.
What about you, Steve?
Yeah, geez, I think I've always been in and around the pub. Like I said, I like usually, like, not after every football game, but as in, like, it would be, Joe, if there was a game on in town, or usually it was always around, like, I suppose towards like between like September and December, that was kind of the main times, because that was when South Kerry Championship was on, and if we lost, the team are going to the pub. We'll all go to the pub and meet the players and things like that. Like I even remember, like, I think was it 2004, 2005 that they stopped smoking in the pubs. I'm not sure, but I know I have one memory of being inside. I remember walking in the door with Dad, like, and like I'm only high, like, or whatever, and just all the smoke just being
The haze.
Just it's like,
Yeah.
what in the name of Jesus is this, like?
Yeah.
Glory days.
Yeah.
But no, like I've always been in and around the pub, like my my father's I wouldn't even say a big drinker, but he's a drinker nonetheless, like.
Yeah, well, he's a big man, so he drinks more than like as in like of build. So like he drinks more than the average person.
Yes, yeah. But like he'd still be able to hold his own. Like, well, I've told the story numerous times about him and my uncle-in-law. Where were they, in Offaly? They went down to the local and they drank 19 pints each, and my dad carried my uncle-in-law home. Like, he's just that kind of character that he would be able to, like, that's the two of them drank half a keg, like, and he's like, oh, grand, no matter, like,
fine,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, like my dad, like every Saturday, my dad was out. Mom was a bigger drinker before my younger sister. Both of them were smokers, and drinkers. But then it was kind of when my younger sister was born, they both stopped smoking. But Mom started going to the pub less and less, and Mom would only really go to the pub if it was for darts. Really, because that's our thing at home. Like, it is darts. Like, Friday nights would be darts, and then there might be one of a Saturday, and there might be one of a Sunday. It just depended on the season, like. But like I always was in the pub, like, and I think, like, I'd see lads drinking cider, like, and I'd be there with my Sidona in a pint glass, thinking like, oh geez, I'm one of the lads, like, because it looked a similar colour, like.
100%.
And I 10 years old, like, inside the pub.
Yeah.
But I've always been.
It's interesting you say that, though, because there is sort of an image of the Irish man, you know, and he drinks pints.
Yeah.
That's just it's a big asset of his character.
Even still, like even when you go into the pub, like the characters you'd meet at home, like.
Yeah.
Like there's a fella at home, Paddy Jim, like, and oh no, it's Paddy Curran, sorry. But Dad would always tell me, oh geez, there's Santa Claus there, watch out, like, oh, because he had grey hair and a grey beard, like.
Yeah.
Even though
you believed him.
Oh, I believed him 100% because my dad is this big aura inside the pub, like everybody, like he was quite a character inside the pub, like he's everybody laughing, like he's very cute and he can catch people out and things, like he's very witty, like, but he's, like you said, the Irish man inside in the Irish pub, like he's very, like, built. If you build someone up to be that, it would be my father, like.
Yeah, no, I get you. He's the archetype.
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely,
100%. And so then, kind of going with, we spoiled my question earlier.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's, it is what it is. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to ask you about that. Just kind of like when do you have your first drink? And I didn't really answer the last one. I just kind of give my input through your answers. But for me, with my first drink, it's kind of a funny story. We've got the pledge over here. Were you offered to take the pledge?
Yeah.
Did you take the pledge?
Yeah, I did.
Did you break the pledge?
Yeah.
The pledge is, like, for anyone that would be listening that doesn't know, the pledge is where you swear off alcohol and drugs.
Alcohol till you're 18 and then drugs for life. I think that's what it is.
That's right, actually, yeah. I didn't take the pledge. I was the only person in my class in the Catholic school who was like, look, I'm not a big believer. I'm not going to do this. And everyone kind of made fun of me. And I was the only person who wouldn't have broken the pledge. Everyone who took the pledge broke it. And I didn't drink until I was 18. So I find that pretty funny. Yeah, I was 18. I kind of split off with my friend group, and then I met some people when I started working somewhere. I started working there in like October, and then I started going out. I turned 18 in January, and then it would have been kind of February, March that I started going out and drinking a bit and stuff, and then soon after drinking a lot.
That's
Um,
mad.
Yeah, yeah. I thought I think
That's quite ironic.
it's quite
like,
ironic, isn't it? Yeah, it's pretty funny. But that was it for me. And for me, it was just kind of like I kind of knew what to expect before I like started going out. My aunts, made me try a few drinks and were like, here's so that what you like, kind of thing. And they got me to try like Guinness and a Heineken because they're beer people. And I was like, I don't like any of this. Give me something that's sweet. And then someone made me a vodka black, and I was like, okay, I can drink alcohol. I got this figured out now. What about you?
I might go back to the confirmation thing.
Yes,
actually,
the pledge.
because I was at my sister's confirmation there last week,
Okay.
and I actually don't think when we were making our confirmation we swore to not take drugs. I know this is like
Did you do the pledge at the confirmation?
Huh?
Did you do the pledge at the confirmation?
Yeah, the confirmation.
Oh.
That's when you take the pledge.
For us, it was a different thing. Like the
really?
pledge was like
Oh no,
months before the confirmation.
as in as before, but it's in the same year as you take the confirmation.
Yeah, but it's not
Yeah.
at the same time.
No, it's not at the same time.
What?
Yeah.
I did
What?
during my confirmation.
You took the pledge as well.
Yeah, that was
No,
that was,
we
No,
Super
yeah.
Tune's the same for you. You
Yeah,
took the
no.
pledge first, and then you got your
A couple of months before.
yeah.
Yeah, it happened in like
Yeah, that's
it
the
happened
way
like
we do it.
4 months before. It
Man, they
like
do it-
middle of the year kind of thing, like because the confirmation was
Yeah.
like towards the end of the year. Then
like they do during the mass with us. Like,
Oh really?
Oh, yeah, you
So
couldn't say
we
no to
stand
that.
up and we were just like, but basically, yeah, like when we were making the confirmation, we were sworn to, it's like until you're 18. The children now get the option of 16 or 18.
What?
Yeah, and my little sister chose 16.
What?
I gave her a high five. I was like, because a lot of them she was 18, and she was like, oh, I chose 16. And I asked her why. She was just like, well, you were drinking at 16. Just like, legend.
Finn, I can't believe you've ruined this. You've made it political.
I know, I'm so sorry. But I don't remember swearing to not taking drugs.
I think it's just implied.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I think
I don't know.
maybe I just don't remember.
I didn't
it well.
go. I don't know. I'm not the expert.
Maybe it's just all the drinking I do.
It happened for us at like during a regular mass, and it was kind of pitched to us as like, yeah, you go and you do it kind of thing,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
as an integral part of the process of reaching true Catholichood, I guess. Whatever,
yeah, no,
whatever,
it was
whatever,
different for us.
whatever.
I think it's because I'm from
Crap
like
they
a
push.
proper like our Catholic our primary school is owned by the Catholic Church. Like it was a Catholic
Yeah.
school.
So was ours.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah?
the thing. Yeah.
Oh,
So
we were
was
like
ours, yeah.
made to take. Well, no, we had the option obviously, but like it was like you should like
You would. It
should.
would have been seen by
Yeah, it
everyone.
would have been a bit weird.
You had
if
to stand up
didn't,
there
like-
and say no.
Yeah, yeah.
That's For
But
us,
I
just said I'm not gonna go. I don't want to go to mass.
I broke the pledge on my confirmation day by accident. We went out to a restaurant and I ordered a Coca-Cola, and my mother ordered a vodka Coca-Cola.
That's yeah.
And the two were up there. I just took one, supped it, and she was like, no, 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 no.
Very
Big
funny.
gulp of it, like, and she was like, you already broke your pledge. And I was like, oh, sugar.
Oh,
And,
wow.
yeah, and she was like, don't tell your father. And that was it.
Would he have been mad?
No, he would have found it hilarious, and he did find it hilarious when she told him, like, and, but yeah, I think that spurred me on.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
So that was your first drink,
That
technically.
was my first drink, and
Yeah.
then I think
Your first sip.
the first of many. Yeah, and then I suppose I started drinking when I was around 14, I suppose, because I'm from a small town, like, and
Yeah.
that's all we could do. And I remember there was me and my three best friends, and we found a bottle of whiskey, and we went ham on it.
Found it in your father's cabinet, kind of thing, or
We found it in my friend's mother's cabinet,
Yeah.
and we were just like, she's away. We have the house to ourselves.
why not?
Why not?
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like we were taking just little sips, going, and then we were just acting like we were the biggest pissheads ever. Like, but it was amazing. But like,
Yeah, good.
I wouldn't
fun.
say we drank every weekend, but I remember there was one summer where like we were drinking a lot. I think it was when we were 15.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and we were drinking a good bit, and we started going out then into the town because we could.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no like, my father was also the sergeant there, so like it was a really weird situation where everyone knew I was out,
Yeah.
but they were just like, does your father know you're out? I was like, no. And we just got away with it.
Yeah.
Nobody told him, nobody told my mother, and
Yeah.
we just kind of went away with it. And yeah, but I think that's why I've a good relationship with it now, because am I allowed to swear on this?
Sure.
Yeah, I fucked up when I was young. So
So you had time to figure it out.
I figured it out, and I figured out what my limits were, and
Yeah.
I was able to build up my tolerance, and
Mhm.
that's why I think I don't push the boundaries anymore. So yeah, that's my youngling kind of story.
Yeah.
Yeah, well then I suppose yeah, like you said about the pledge, I took the pledge, but like the way it was put to us, it was like, oh, you have to do it. And like it was like, oh, you won't make your confirmation. That's the way they put it to us. You won't make your confirmation if you don't take the pledge. So you're all kind
Should
of
have called our bluff.
yeah. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, well I guess we better take the pledge. And then 2 weeks later, I was at my was it my uncle's wedding. It was was it? It was my uncle's wedding. Sorry, in Donegal, and my aunt-in-law, she was very drunk, and myself and my sister and my two cousins, we were like that. That was our gang, the four of us, like, and we we managed to convince a very drunk aunt of ours to buy us 2 cans of Bulmers. But it was the berries Bulmers. So myself and Kieran shared 1 can, and Saoirse and Kira shared another can. This was 2 weeks after we just taken our pledge, all 4 of us. Like.
Yeah.
Oh no, Saoirse had her pledge taken, but myself, Kira, and Kieran had just taken it like
Yeah.
2 weeks before it, and we just literally, it was so weird because like everybody was inside in the dance floor, and we were just outside, and there was like adults coming in and out the whole time, and they just see us sitting at the table, like this small table here, like, and 2 of us are just sharing a can of Bulmers, like. And we think we are the shit.
Yeah.
Like. We think we're the dog's bollocks. Like,
I think it's sort of a great sort of, I don't want to say self-fulfilling prophecy. That's incorrect. A great commentary on religious restrictions that it seems like almost everyone who did take the pledge has a story of them effectively immediately breaking it.
Yeah.
It seems to be, and I think it's a great idea of if you try to, or it's a great demonstration of if you push someone left, then they push back right. Like it just, it's funny how it works.
It was hilarious. One day we were a priest at home. He baptized me. He married my parents, and like he was retiring, and he was getting to quite an old age. And we invited him out to the house for dinner, and he did like a mass in our house just at the table. And he was, I was 16, I think, and he was doing the whole bread, and then the wine. And he got to me, and he looked at my dad. My dad just looked at him, looked at me, and he was just like, Finbar, I'll give you another 2 years. So little did he know, like a couple hours later, I was out in a field drinking. It was brilliant. Like, but it was so funny because my dad just gave me that look. It was just like, don't tell the priest.
That's good. So I guess kind of immediately running off that. So then, you came to college and you'd had these experiences of, or did you want to finish? You're looking at me like you want to finish. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I suppose, then I suppose it was junior cert night. It was my first, I'd say, proper time going out drinking. We went down by the promenade in Mortville and just the whole course, the year, we were all drinking. A friend of mine, his mother bought us all drink, like we all the money we'd saved from working in the summer, and we gave her a bit, like, and she bought us the drink, and it was fine. And I just have a memory of like, so like there's the sign of like, it's like Waterville, County Kerry, and it's like showing the promenade, and like the length of it are just a couple of different pieces, like, and I just remember about 20 of us like in a line running at it and jumping into it. Like, I don't know why we thought it was the funniest thing ever, but we just like run as if we were running at the door and just jumping into it, like,
Yeah.
in the pissing rain. Like, it was like, how do we find this funny? We did, don't know how, but it just was the case, like. But yeah, I had a weird one because my dad was very like, you can't drink, like
Yeah.
you can't drink. You keep the plate. Like he didn't know about that night. He didn't know about the my uncle's wedding. There was a couple of times that that I took bottles from my aunt. They were like loose bottles, and like I'd always wait until like if she was having a party or something, like a gathering in the house,
Mhm.
and then I'd like take some from the back that once she would notice, like, and then
Yeah.
I'd go up. I'm fairly certain if I went up to that corner of the house, there's just old bottles of Bulmers just buried in the ground. Like, didn't know about that. Even when I came to college, like, I was 18 when I came to. Yeah, I was 18, wasn't I? I was.
You were.
Yeah, and I was 19. Yeah, 19 then. Yeah. But even still, like, Dad, for some reason, didn't think that I drank. Like, at my graduation and my debs, didn't think I drank at that. And then it wasn't until, I suppose, my 19th that I was down in the local, and and then I was with Dad, and he was like, "Oh, what you want?" He was like, "A pint of Heineken," and his eyes just lit up. He's like, "What? You serious?" Like, and then he was like, text mom," as if it was this big deal. Like, and then he handed me the pint, and I took a sup of it, and he just looked at me, and he was like, "That wasn't your first drink, was it?" And I was like, "No," and I was like, "No," and he was like, "When did you start drinking?" I was like, "Oh, when I turned 18 there, I was inside in the Harp and had my first drink there." He's like, "Why didn't you say it?" I was like, "Oh, I don't know." But little do you know that I'd been drinking, like,
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
I was 14, 15, like.
Yeah, I mean, kind of going back to sort of what I was saying about religion, I think the same way it goes with social norms. And it's like, if you put a taboo sticker on something, everyone wants to see what's beneath the sticker, you know? And it's that kind of thing. But that kind of segues well into what I was going to ask you next, which was like, you came to college with roughly, I assume, the same kind of general ideas about this whole thing. Now, like I kind of mentioned at the start, leaving that, has your perspective changed? Have you seen more of kind of the darker side of the culture? Like, especially now that you've both worked in bars, you know, like how has that sort of altered your perspectives? Has it made you more aware, more conscious, you know, or are you effectively unchanged? Do you recognize some of these problems, you know, and kind of, and then the question I kind of want to leave you on, I want you to get into that first, but the question I want to leave you on is, or well, not leave you on, I've done a few follow-ups after this, but the big crux of the issue here is, if you found out your son or your daughter, your child in the future, was drinking at the same age that you were drinking, what would your reaction be? You know? So,
You want me to answer kind of my college experience in a way?
yeah,
Yeah.
like how has that changed your perspective since then?
Yeah, I suppose going into college, it was kind of, there was this kind of pressure because you heard it before from older people and older people, you know, like, oh, you have to be drinking in college, like you have to go out and have
Yeah.
fun and stuff like that, and that's great, like, but there was always this pressure to, you had to go out, you had to be drinking, and I remember feeling that in first year. I was like, there was some nights now where I just stayed in, and that was just due to my own headspace at the time, but then I felt like, you know, shit, I'm supposed to be out, like,
You feel
this is
guilty.
you feel
Like,
guilty,
yeah.
like, and it's kind of ingrained in you to go out. And then I suppose I got better after a while, and I started going out more, and I was just like, okay, you can go to college and have a good balance drinking. And I suppose working in bars as well, it is a bit odd seeing it, especially with college students. They will budget for the drink, and they will nearly
Rather than using the drink from what's left of their budget.
exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, I had a friend in Cork. She would get about 50, 60 euro a week. That was her budget for the week. She would only eat Weetabix and like sliced ham or something like that the whole week, so she could budget for drink. Like that, and I said it to her straight away. I was just like, "Are you dumb? Like, are you dumb? Why do you need that much?" And she was just like, "Oh, I'm gonna have fun." Like, it's, yeah, but I mean, get a hobby or something. Like, I thought it was bonkers, and the way her friends were enabling her like that.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
That is
so like,
crazy.
I mean, it is a bit scary sometimes the way the perception of you have to drink in college.
Well, you put something that I haven't quite expected. I've used the word I'm going to use again. There's an expectation is more what
Yeah.
you're saying, and that's what kind of what's affected you, kind of like from what you're saying here. I hadn't considered that before, that there's like this level that you should reach, and if you haven't reached that, you missed out.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, Jesus, surely you had someone come up to you before you went to college. It's like, oh, you'll enjoy yourself now. You'll be out drinking every
Oh
night.
yeah,
And
definitely.
everyone,
Yeah.
everyone
I know-
thinks you. Everyone thinks you are drinking every night. Like when
Yeah,
in reality, it might be for some people, but
Yeah.
that's kind of the sad part of it. People are drinking every night,
yeah,
and I've seen people now at home, especially they've finished college, and they are still in the pub every night because they've spent 4 years in a drinking culture where they were out 4 or 5 times a week, and they can't leave that, so they just revert to the local at home,
right.
and they are just pissing their life away. And it is quite sad.
Mm.
I've seen it in Tralee and I've seen it at home, and it is just, it's heartbreaking. Like, you need to find that balance. First year, grand, piss your life away. You know, you have time to make it up. If you're still doing that third, fourth year, God Almighty, like there's like you actually
There's a
may
screw
have
loose somewhere like.
you may have a problem. Like, and I hate to say it because it is great going out and great drinking, and I see a load of people that can, the majority of people in college can keep that balance. But yeah, I won't go on about it, but like, you have to find that balance in college, and you shouldn't listen to the expectation of going out, if you get me.
Yeah, 100%. Unfortunately, the government does now have to revoke your Irish passport.
Ah, dang it. One more pint. Can I do it this time?
Too late, done.
No, you see it.
Yeah, when I came to college, I suppose, like I said, my dad was very like restrictive of me, like at home, like would never know, like if I did that, even that time when I went out from my junior cert night, I literally had to put out a plan of where I'm going to be at what times and what I'll be doing, who I'm with and how I'm getting home, what time I'll be home. Every single time, and I'd always ask mom, like, if there was like bank holiday weekend or Paddy's Day or something, like, oh mom, can I go out, like? And then she'd be like, oh, I don't know, ask your father. And I just knew I hated, that was the worst answer. Mom knew I hated it, but she always did that because he would give out to her if she just let me out, like, and it was just kind of like he was like, it was just a nightmare, like, so that's why I was kind of restricted. So then, like, when I came to college, it was a massive weight. I had no one, like, I didn't have to turn
Freedom.
yeah, it was freedom. Like, I didn't have to turn to no one and be like, oh, can I go? I was like, oh, I'm just going out, like. And I kind of think that's why I kind of done the dog on it in first year. Like, I was out, I don't think I missed a Tuesday or Thursday night in the Blasket, in John Oaks, in Hennessy's, wherever we were going.
Wherever it would take you.
I was out every single Tuesday and Thursday, like, without fail. Or Rag Week, I done Golden Week of Rag Week, Golden Week of Freshers, Refresher. Every opportunity there was to drink, I was out, like. And like, that's how. Well, I suppose it was just weird, like, because he was in his room the whole time, and that was his own. That was your own headspace, as you said, like, and I was the complete opposite. Joe was kind of, it was a yin and yang kind of situation, like, but like, I'd never, like, if I was like, oh, I'm gonna go out, are you coming? And he'd be like, no, I wouldn't be like, oh fuck, Joe, why aren't you coming out? Like, I was like, oh, fair enough, like,
Yeah.
that's just kind of an understanding between the two of us, like, but yeah, I just kind of done the dog in it for first year and second year as well, like, and like, you can kind of see patterns when you're going out, like when you're seeing the same people out every week. Like, even when I was out, like, there was
I see you here at the bar every single time I walk in here.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I keep seeing you there?
Yeah. Like, there was a lot of people. Now, granted, I'm still friendly with, like, I am still friends with them, like, and I know they were just doing the exact same thing as I was doing. Like, I was looking at them being like, why the fuck are you out every night when I was...
Meanwhile,
I was also out every night, you know? So I had no leg to stand on. But as in, I see them now and, I know they have a good relationship with drink. I know they're not abusing, like, but I suppose there was a time when you were like Jesus,
Yeah.
but you never think about yourself.
Yeah.
Like I would like.
It's easy to put in someone else. And be
It's like, oh,
whoa.
why, Jesus, you're out all the time and you're never doing college work, like.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I was also out every Tuesday and Thursday,
Yeah.
but like I was like, oh, but I'm still up to date on my college work. When I think I failed one thing in first semester. I think. That kind of was like, oh shit. But then again, I was like, it went in 1 year out the other.
Yeah.
And just done it again for second semester.
Yeah. Oh well, freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was that kind of way, like, and to this day I don't know how I managed to afford it, like going out every Tuesday and Thursday, and then I know I was working at the weekends, like, but working at the weekends was, spent all that wages was spent on drink, like.
Yeah.
For most people, no, I was lucky that I got the grant as well, so I wasn't completely stuck, like, and I was still somewhat smart with my money, like I was saving my bit to pay for accommodation for the next semester, so it wouldn't be a big pressure on my parents and things like that, and I was also learning to drive, and I was paying for all that stuff myself, like, so I was smart with my money, but I was also enjoying myself with my money, like, so I did have a balance unknown to myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just like the shackles came off, and I just went drinking, like.
And is that kind of made you more conscious of like of just like alcohol in general, or like how is that kind of like changed your perspective on it?
I think my perspective to drink is the same really as it's all, like, I don't think my opinion on drink has changed since I was 4 years old, like I knew it was something that people do to socialize. I knew it was something everyone enjoys, like, and you'd see that, and even more so when working in the pub, like you're the sober head amongst all the drunks, like, and it's, yes, there's days where you're like, oh, will you just piss off, like, get out of my face, like, but if you just interact with them and like have the crack with them, like, they'll be fine, like. When you go against them when they're in a good buzz from drinking alcohol, and you're going against their buzz, it's gonna do the opposite of what the alcohol is there to, like, like, we drink alcohol to have a good time, and then when you're going against the grain, that's when it turns sour, and that's when fights start, and that's when drama starts, and that's when it all goes tits up, like.
Yeah.
So like, it's like I've had the same relationship with drink, and like we said from the start, it's finding the balance, and I think I've always had the balance, I like even at home, like, I'd see like lads like even playing darts, like, and they're there throwing the dart and they're swaying, like, and I'm like, how are you staying straight? But then they throw the dart and it's straight in the middle of the triple 20, like, and I'm like, how are you doing it? Like,
Yeah.
it is the balance, like. I've seen my own father, like, I've seen him there, and the hand is moving like this, and you're like, oh Jesus, where is this dart going to go, like, and then bang straight, like. It is about finding the balance, like, and I suppose like the longer you drink, it's more common, I suppose it is. You will find the balance to it, like. And obviously there is people that abuse it, and then there is like.
I think also to that end though, like, if
you
you start balanced, then sure.
Yes, yeah.
But if you start and you're kind of askew, and no one is there to say, hey man, something's not right.
You do need a bit of guidance, like.
Yeah, because I think it's very easy to fall into like habits.
Yes, absolutely.
Particularly bad ones when it comes to alcohol, because it's easy. Because alcohol helps you forget. So then you're in this vicious cycle where you're, doing that thing that you kind of said, where you're forming these habits of being in these places all the time. This is where you go to socialize, but it's also this place that is detrimental to your health, both, physiological and mental. And then what do you do the next day? You go, oh, Jesus, I shouldn't have gone out last night. Well, if I go out today, I won't be thinking about that anyway. I'll meet people, I'll chat to them, and then you're there again,
It's the filthy habit.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're creatures of habitual nature.
Yeah. And so I guess kind of like, to kind of like come back to something that you were going on about earlier, you're both from rural places, well, relatively speaking anyway. I'd consider them both rural, just the same as myself.
Yeah.
And you worked in bars there, and now you're working in bars here. Like, has that given you a bit of a perspective shift as well? Like, is the drinking culture different in a rural place? Like, is it quieter and is it easier to manage? And then you come up to a busier like urban center like Tralee, and people tend to be more rowdy. There's more people you can lose control of, and that kind of thing. Like, is there more incidents or?
Yeah, I would say it's a bit different. It's fairly universal in a way, and I think it's because it is truly it's a big community.
Yeah.
But I know at home, like back in Castanbear, it's very like everyone knows each other, and then there's a mixture of tourists as well. But everyone gets on in a way. Now there obviously are fights, but that's amongst young people. You would never see fights. The first time I'd seen like a rowdy older gentleman was in Tralee, which was quite a shock to me. Or, like at home, it was always that's the young people fighting, Like Jesus, I was in the middle of them sometimes. Like I was just like, I've seen more. I think how I would explain it is, in a rural setting, I believe that younger people cause more of the issue. Because it is such a quiet community, and there's not much. Everyone knows each other. All the kind of locals, they know each other. In a town setting or a city setting, you get mixtures of people, so that like two fellas could butt heads like at any point, and it's I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of a tough question because they're very similar in a way. Pub settings, anyway. I don't even want to go into clubs, like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found them quite similar, but in a rural setting, it's a bit quieter and it's a bit more community. Everyone gets on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there, but I'd say that they're a lot more different. Like even like you said there, like you wouldn't really see fights. Like the most like I know fellas at home that have fallen out. Like, and like what I've learned basically is that a lot of everyone is as stubborn as each other. Like both people could be in the wrong, but neither of them are going to admit it. Like, and there's lads at home that haven't talked in 10, 12 years over the smallest thing.
Yeah.
Like I know brothers that don't talk at all, and that was just over.
Oh, but like I'm just kind of talking about it in a pub sense.
Oh no, I'm getting to that. Like I know brothers that have fallen out. Like, where they could be in the same bar, and they won't even look at each other. Like even if they pass each other going to the toilet, or if they're in the same toilet, they will just be there in silence. Like, and
there's no fighting.
There's no fighting, but as in you can. Everybody else is like, geez, the Connell brothers are in. Like, geez, I can't believe they're in the same place.
I think in a bigger town there might be scraps.
Oh, 100%.
That's what I'm kind of getting at.
Yeah.
You would see just, I don't know, it's a weird one too, kind of middle-aged men fighting. You're just like, cop on a bit. Like, honestly, like the amount of, like, just like working in Tralee, I should not be throwing a 6-foot-something man out a pub.
Have you done that?
Huh?
Have you done that?
Yes, I have, and it's actually quite satisfying. But it is quite.
It is very
like,
satisfying.
I don't know what it is because it really is like it's never happened at home. And if let's say someone does pipe up, they're piping up to the level of they're getting arrested. That kind of level. This is just like drunken tomfoolery. I feel like it's more persistence in like bigger towns, and then students as well. I feel like it is kind of.
I do find students are more understanding. Like I know there is obviously instances where you're thrown out of the pub or you're thrown out of the nightclub because you're too drunk or whatever. And yes, you're going to be mad for 5, 10, 15 minutes at most, like.
But life goes
and
on.
then you're going to get your food and you're going to forget about it. Yes, you're going to be in the taxi and the taxi will be like, oh, how's your night? How come you're out so early? Oh, well, this fucker in this pub was like this. And then the next day you're going to be like, actually, no, I was quite bad, like, so that's on me. But like you said about older lads they're just there for a fight, like, and it's kind of like, yeah, cop on, like, why are you squaring up to the 22-year-old who's just trying to fucking
Have a good time.
have a good time and just make his way through his final year in college. Like,
yeah.
there's no point, and you're going to get nowhere. Like, if you hit me, you're barred from the pub. Like, God, good luck, see you next Tuesday. Like,
Students get a bad rap.
They
Like,
do.
I know,
They
like
do.
they're loud. Like, we're very loud on the drink, and we'll play music loudly. We don't break stuff usually. We will break our own stuff, like, but like there's no like I saw there was one night in Tralee, someone just ran through a building. Like, they ran through the front window of a building that's solicitors next to the Blasket.
oh yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
and someone just ran through it, and he was in his 30s. You know, you'd never
Yeah.
see a student do that.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Yeah,
Like the stupidest things you'll see a student doing will probably be
Usually
like,
throwing up.
throwing up.
yeah,
Yeah,
well, not
Yeah.
even that though. But like, you might see them like running down the street when there's cars, or like even like the agricultural science students, like, or if the boy racers of Tralee, like, and they're driving through the town and they're lifted, and then you'll see they'll just flock to the car, like they'll swarm around the car, like, and he'll just be revving his engine, like, and everybody's like, oh,
Yeah.
and then
The
next thing
McDonald's
and
car
next-
park in Tralee comes to mind.
yeah,
for
but like,
one
no,
of those
like
locations.
even a night out after the blast, like, when everybody's just piling out
Yeah.
out in the streets, like, people are going to get their food, and then they're coming through, like, and then the guards come in and they drive off, and then everybody's like, oh jeez, they're great lads, aren't they? They stuck to the man, kind of thing, and it's kind of like,
I will say there's nothing better than Castle Street after the Blasket. Like, just there's chippers on one
Yeah.
side. There's just a load of people to talk to on the other side, and then there's a road in between it where you probably will run out in front of a car. It's so much fun. I love it so much. I love it so much.
Yeah.
Like, it's like outside the Blasket, there's just a pile of people, and then on the other side, there's like a row of chippers, and then there's like, you know, people talking to each other, and just like, I don't know. You know what makes me sad after a night out, like especially with students, is girls. I don't know what it is, but girls getting really drunk. It makes me feel so uneasy.
Really?
Yeah, I found that about like girls I've met in college now. They get a lot drunker than a lot of lads do. I don't know if that's kind of a controversial opinion, but like,
Well, if it is, this is the place to voice it.
yeah, I really get uneasy about it. It's just like, again, going back to knowing your limits. Like,
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but when I think if I see a girl and a man at the same level of drunk, I'm a little more wary when it's a girl. And there's like a primal part of me that's like, I should keep an eye on her, make sure she doesn't run out in front of traffic
yeah,
or
but
something. You know what I mean?
then you're as drunk as them, and then it's like,
Usually,
goes
yeah,
into-
but
yeah.
it's still like that primal part of my brain. So I think part of that is definitely that. Like, I think you're more inclined to notice if a girl is
oh,
that
definitely.
drunk. You know what I mean?
Lads, well, most lads I know can hold their drink. Yes, you know they've been drinking, and yes, you know they're drunk, but you know, like, they can hold their own. Like, like if you ask them walk in a straight line, they probably could. Maybe a step might go astray, but for the majority of that line, they'd walk it straight. Whereas with girls, like, they'd be kind of like, oh, and I don't mean that in like a,
Yeah.
I don't want to come across as sexist or anyway, like, but it's just the way I've seen it. Like, and not like, even from working in the pub, like, after, like, of Saturday night, we'd finish bar closes at 12:30, and everybody's out by 1, and then we do our cleanup, and then we're out by 2, and then at that stage, you see everybody again flocking out of the Blasket, and as a sober head, you can see the lads who are drunk but holding their own. You can see the lads who are drunk and can hold their own, and then you see, there is girls that can hold their own, like, and then you see most girls who are very, very drunk, and they're kind of minding each other, like.
Yeah.
So they're minding each other as they're swaying up the footpath, going into the chippers, like, getting their chicken wrap or whatever they're getting, like.
Exactly, yeah.
And then getting a taxi and going home, like. And
Yeah.
what was your original question?
yeah, we were screwed way off topic. I'd say.
It was, how has your opinion changed on the drinking culture as a whole? But I feel like we answered that pretty well.
I kind of
got
answered
it.
Yeah.
that.
So the final question for you now is, oh no, that question was rural versus town.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sorry. My final question for you is, if your child was drinking at the same age that you were, what would be your reaction?
Give me money to buy them the drinks.
Wait,
No,
what?
like
You give 'em- you give
no,
'em some money?
as in, like if they like I wouldn't have a problem with my obviously not at like 12 years old, like obviously, but like like their junior cert night,
You turn a blind
I'd
eye.
I'd like yeah, okay, go on. Like I was drinking that age. Like I feel
You just
our
keep. You'd be happier to keep an eye on them,
yeah,
kind of thing. Yeah.
like I mean our like our generation, I feel will be more easy going. Like obviously we're going to be strict on our kids or whatever, but
Mhm.
like Joe, like if you like it's the same with anyone. If you tell them not to do something or not to touch this or not to touch that, they're going to want to do it. Like when you tell them
The taboo.
like we don't, okay, you can't drink until you're 18, and then that's even half the appeal with drinking. Like, oh, I'm not 18 but I'm drinking,
Yeah.
look at me, like, do you know. So like even like I'll go to my son or daughter, like, look, okay, you can drink, but like again, like we've said, find your balance,
Mm-hmm.
and like obviously I like want them to be safe, like, and Joe, make sure I'll probably text them like during the night or whatever, like, oh, how's your night going, is everything going okay, like,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll just be like a father would, just minding their kid, like.
Mhm.
But I wouldn't have any issue with my kid drinking at that age, like.
Yeah.
I'd nearly encourage it, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Which
Well-
I don't know, maybe that is that a contradiction? Maybe, I don't know.
Not a contradiction
It just-
necessarily, but
Yeah. Oh no, mine's a bit out there. I'd encourage the fuck ups. I'd be like,
learn your lessons.
do what you want. Do what you want, like. Just don't come crying back to me. That kind of way.
Okay.
Like, well, okay, no, actually, I wouldn't say don't come crying back to me. I want to give my children the most independence they can possibly have without just like letting them go anywhere. I want them to make their own decisions, become decisive, and fuck up, because they learn.
May
then
God
that
have mercy on their souls.
God Almighty, let's hope they're not like their father. No, like that's how I learned. I
Yeah.
fucked up, but I didn't tell my parents at the same time, and then they found out, and they were quite disappointed that I didn't tell them. So, tell me, like, I want my kids to tell me, oh, I'm going to my friend's house there. We're going to be drinking. It's like, okay, do it, and just you can tell me all about it then, and they might. I don't know. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it could go two ways. But I'll have to backtrack here. I'd encourage the fuck ups, really. You have to learn at a young age. I don't know, like that'd be just with drink, like drugs. Now I'd be like, no,
No.
stop.
Yeah.
That's a whole
That's a whole other can of worms.
conversation,
Yeah.
And look, be safe if you are doing it. Just wait till you're 18. I
Yeah.
suppose. But yeah, I'd encourage the fuck ups in a way. Yeah, I'd buy my kid a nagging or whatever for their junior cert thing. I'm very lenient. I'm very for like, I don't know, lowering the drinking age and even
Really?
to 17. Yeah, because like there's no use. Like,
The taboo. It comes
yeah,
back to the taboo.
15, 16-year-olds are going to drink. It's
It's a given at this
it's
stage,
a given.
yeah.
Like, they're going to drink and they're going to find drink somehow. Would you rather them do it in a regulated place
Yeah.
where they have to spend their own money?
Yeah.
And then they be like, oh, I can't afford to go out now. Or I could just get a nagging for €7.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those things. I'd be for it
Mm-hmm.
personally.
Yeah. No. 100%. Yeah.
So yeah, to my future kids, drink away.
We'll leave it. I guess. Actually, I know I said that was the last question, but I've kind of come up with one last one.
Okay.
Right, and it's a very simple one. Do you think Ireland has a drinking problem?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
Like everything is drinking.
Do you think that it is too ingrained into the culture to do that much about it at this point?
Yeah.
No,
Oh.
no. I think we will move past it. But right now, I think it's such a we're getting married. Let's drink. Someone died. Let's drink. I don't know. I passed a test. Let's go for a drink. You know, it's even down to just, you know, going for a pint to talk to your friend. You could go for a coffee. Like it's moving in that sense. Like England had a huge problem with drinking. They're moving past it now.
Mm.
I feel like Ireland will take its time, but that'll be the government's. I think, the only way we're going to move past it is if the government get involved, which they will eventually.
Mm-hmm.
That's another issue. I don't think Ireland really wants to move on from it, though.
That's what I'm saying.
And
about the
yeah,
kind of
we're not
its
like a happy
cultural kind of
we're in
relevance.
a happy medium.
Yeah, but like there's. I say we have a problem, but I think we're happy that we have a problem.
Mm.
I think it's one of our number one.
We almost
Sports,
encourage
like-
the problem, which is quite worrying as well.
I think that's the exact point this podcast has
Yeah.
proven.
Yeah, we are
That's
enablers.
what this is kind of all proven.
Like I know you were saying there about like, we're getting married, whatever. Like, but I feel like it's gonna if you were to get rid of that drinking culture, it's gonna take a lot of years and years of it. Like even our generation would have to nearly pass, I'd say. Like even you were saying, like both of us were saying there, like that we're going to let our kids drink at their junior cert, like, and you know they'll see that and they'll be drinking from their 15, and then when they have their kids, and I just can't see a point where Ireland isn't seen as the drinking country. You know what I mean? Like
That's why I said the government will be
Yeah.
involved. They'll start, the minimum unit pricing. That's already the first step in it. They want us to move past it. I don't think we'll go down without a fight.
Any closing thoughts before we wrap this up proper? Any last word from either of you?
Pints?
pints, yeah.
Pints?
I would actually like a pint now. That's quite sad.
We are the problem.
Maybe I'll title this "We Have Learned Nothing."
We have learned nothing, and we have not learned a thing.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me for this candid conversation about Ireland and its possible drinking problem. We cannot confirm or deny. We like our passports the way that they are.
Yeah.
I mean, Family Guy done it best when they're coming in the plane and it's all the bottles on the runway.
You should actually put that clip over that.
Yeah.
That's perfect. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you
absolutely.
ever seen the clip?
I've never seen that.
Oh, it's like Peter's going to Ireland to meet his father, and then they're talking like, I don't think Ireland has a drinking problem at all. And then the plane is landing into the airport, and just all of the runway is just empty bottles of beer as far as the eye can see. It's brilliant, like, and it quite literally sums this whole conversation up. Like,
Yeah, 100. I
you know?
shouldn't have made any podcast. I should have just
Yeah.
played. I should just direct people to Family Guy.
just play Family Guy for half an hour, like that's your project.
Thank you very much for joining me, fellas. It's been a pleasure to talk to you about this.
Thank you.